Hello friends, welcome back. In today's lecture, I am Dr. Milind Meshram, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, KTHM College, Nasik. Today, we will see the multiple step synthesis and we will see the how to avoid the chemoselectivity problem in this topic. So, today we are going to see the guideline 3. So, in the previous lecture, we have seen the guideline 1 and guideline 2. So, guideline was basically the guideline 1 says that disconnection must correspond to known reliable reaction. So, guideline 1 says that your disconnection must correspond to the known reliable reaction. Whenever you are going to disconnect the target molecules, so that disconnection must correspond to the known reliable reaction. Guideline 2 says that, so suppose consider the target molecules and this target molecule consisting of two parts and these two parts joined by a heteroatom, then your disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. Okay? Target molecule is consisting of two parts and these parts joined by a heteroatom. For example, oxygen, nitrogen and sulfur, etc. Then disconnection your disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. So, these two guidelines are closely resembles with the today we are going to see guideline number 3. So, closely related to the guideline number 3. So, in this lecture I am going to discuss about the guideline number 3 and how these 3 guidelines are useful in the retrosynthetic analysis. So, guideline 3 says that, so we should consider the alternative disconnection and we should choose the appropriate routes that avoid the chemoselectivity problem. So, guideline 3, so consider alternative disconnection and choose appropriate routes that avoid the chemoselectivity problem. Okay. So guideline says that we should consider the alternative disconnection and we have to choose the appropriate routes that avoid the chemoselectivity problem. And in this multiple step synthesis, we always observe the chemoselectivity problem. So we need to we need to find out the which disconnection we should do the in the beginning. So it will not create the chemoselectivity problem. So for this purpose, to test these guidelines, we will take the one example where we will see the how these guidelines are useful in this retrosynthetic analysis. For example, so we will see the target molecules. For example, so this is our target molecule. Basically, this is an intermediate that has been used in the synthesis of potential obesity drug. That is ICI D7114. When you look at this molecule, you will spot the various functional group. So here you can see there are two ether functional groups are present and one amino functional group. Okay. So now we have to find out the how many possibilities are disconnection possibility are present in it. Okay. So for this we have two ether linkages and we should know how this ether can be made and this amine also. So here we can apply the guideline 1, since this guideline 1 says that your disconnection must correspond to the known reliable reaction. So ether can be made by using here phenoxide and this halide. So this is the reliable reaction. So we should break this bond and here also. Okay. So here this amine also we can make by substitution reaction. So one disconnection will be here. So we will denote this disconnection as A. Then second disconnection will be here. So we will write as B. Then this one is C and this one is D disconnection. So we have the 4 possible disconnections A, B, C, D. So I have drawn over here. So we will see one by one. First of all, we will see the disconnection A. So I will use the colored chalk. So when you disconnect this bond, CN bond, so on the arrow you can write CN amine bond. So when you disconnect, when you do this A cleavage, so you will get this benzyl cation, okay, and this NH negative, and rest of the molecule will be as it is. Okay. So, otherwise I will simply write here AR. And since this nitrogen having the more electronegativity as that of the carbon, so it will tend to have negative charge, and this carbon will have the positive charge. So, cleavage A will give these fragments. So, these fragments are the idealized fragments. So, we call them as a synthon, that we have discussed already. Okay. So, this benzyl cation correspond to its chemical equivalent reagent, that is benzyl bromide. We can add bromide over there, and this correspond to its amine. So, now I will write whole structure. So, this is the cleavage A. Now, we will cleave this CN bond, once again amine bond. So, this is the cleavage B. So, when you cleave this CN bond, so you will get this nitrogen will have negative charge, and this carbon will have positive charge. So, we will write these two fragments. So, I will use other color. So, you will get this phenyl, this nitrogen will have negative charge plus this so it will have the positive charge. Okay. So, this will transform into the benzylamine NH2, and this will transform into its, you cannot attach bromide there. So, I simply write AR. Okay. This is the actual real chemical reagent that we can use in the forward synthesis. Okay. Now, let us move to disconnection, these CO disconnections, okay, C cleavage. So, I will write over here. So, when you cleave this CO, so you should write CO ether linkage, all right. Then you will have these two fragments. So, electronegativity of this oxygen is more than that of the carbon. So, it will acquire the negative charge, and this carbon will have the positive charge. So, it corresponds to its real chemical reagent, that is we can add bromide over here. So, this bromo derivative. Then next synthon is oxygen will have negative charge. and this correspond to its, so hydrogen will get attached. So you will have this real chemical reagent, that is phenol. Okay, now let's move to cleavage D. Cleavage D is also a CO cleavage. Okay, so we should write CO ether once again. So you will have this phenoxide. Okay, so this will have negative charge. NH pH, and this benzyl cation, so it will correspond to its benzyl bromide, and this will correspond to its phenol. So in this way, we have seen the 4 disconnections A, B, C and D. So out of these 4 disconnections, so when you consider C and D disconnections, which is having CO cleavage, so both the C and D disconnections pose a chemoselectivity problem. When let's consider C for example, when you cleave this CO bond, so you will get these fragments. Okay. Now in next step, when you are going to alkylate at phenol, so there you will observe the starting material itself is having alkylating agent. So that's that means it will create the problem in the reaction. So it will pose a chemoselectivity problem. Similarly, in D cleavage also same problem will be observed. Okay. So let's move to this disconnection A and B. When you consider this cleavage A and B, so B option would be the better cleavage. Okay. So B would be the better option. So because when you cleave this CN bond via this A cleavage, so you will get this benzyl bromide and this amine. So after A cleavage, you will have to be do O alkylation in the presence of nitrogen functionality. So that is that creates the means problem. So that poses a chemoselectivity problem. In this case also, when you are going to alkylate, so in the presence of amino functionality, it will create the problem. So B would be the better option. So when you cleave this CN bond, so you will get this benzyl amine plus this bromo compound. Okay. So let's consider this starting material as a target molecule. So after disconnection, B disconnections, okay, just I want to draw it again. After B disconnection, So we disconnected this bond. So we B cleavage. So we got the two fragments. Okay. One was this NH negative, and second was it will have positive charge. Okay. So these fragments can be transformed into real reagents. So this will be amine, benzyl amine, and this will have, so you can add bromide over here. Okay. So let's consider this is our now next target. So when you look at this molecule, let me redraw it. Okay, let's consider this is our target molecule. So when you look at these molecules, you will here also you will spot the two ether linkages. Now again question is arises. So which disconnection we should do first? Okay. So let's consider this one, this disconnection, E disconnection, and this one, F disconnection. So actually in guideline 3 tell us that we have to consider the alternative disconnection and choose the appropriate routes that avoid the chemoselectivity. That means it often we have to disconnect more reactive functional group. Here this ethyl bromide is more reactive than this phenyl group. Okay. So now let's have this E disconnection. This is the CO ether linkage. So you will have this synthon O negative, that means it corresponds to its chemical equivalent, that is phenol. So we will write here phenol, and next one is, next synthon is benzyl cation. So it can transform into benzyl bromide. So here you will observe the chemoselectivity problem. Okay. So when you are going to alkylate at phenol, so this bromide itself is acting as a alkylating agent. So it will cause a chemoselectivity problem. Okay. Then we will to avoid the chemoselectivity problem, so we will go by this route F cleavage, F. So again CO ether linkage. So you will get the two fragments. So this oxygen will have this plus this will have positive charge. Okay. So this oxygen is having negative charge, so it is phenol. Okay. Okay, this is the phenol and this is equivalent to dibromoethane. So, here what we have done? So, we have cleave this bond CO bond. So, we have to disconnect more reactive functional group. So, this bromoethyl group is more reactive. So, in this cleavage we have disconnected this CO bond. So, we got this dibromoethane. Okay, now next disconnection, suppose G disconnection. So, we have to cleave this bond, again CO ether linkage. So, you will end up with the readily accessible starting material. So, this is the commercially available starting material, hydroquinone and this benzyl bromide. Okay. So, in this cleavage, in this route, you will not observe any chemoselectivity problem. So, this is the best route. So, this is all about the retrosynthetic analysis. Now, let us move to the forward synthesis. So, in the end we have got the hydroquinone, this is the synthesis of an intermediate of ICI D7114. Okay. So, in the end we have got hydroquinone, the treatment of the hydroquinone in the presence of base with benzyl bromide, in the presence of base, generally you can use sodium hydride. So, you will get selectively you will get the monobenzylation product. Okay. Selective monobenzylation. So, you will end up with the monobenzylation product. Next step is, so you have the pre-phenolic OH. So, in next step the treatment of your phenol, protected phenol with this dibromoethane in the presence of base. So, you will get this bromo compound, this bromo compound, okay, bromo derivative. Now, eventually when you treat this benzyl amine with this resulting bromide, so you will get your target molecule. Okay, this is our target molecule, and this synthesis involves 3 steps. Okay, 3 steps, and basically we have seen how these 3 guidelines are important, useful in the retrosynthetic analysis. So, guideline 1 says your disconnection must correspond to the known reliable reaction. And guideline 2 says when you consider any target molecule, your target molecule consisting of two parts and those parts joined by a heteroatom, then your disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. And guideline 3 tell us that we should consider the alternative disconnection and we have to choose the appropriate routes that avoid the chemoselectivity problem. So, in multiple synthesis many times we will observe the chemoselectivity problem. So, in that regard these guidelines are very useful. So, in next lecture I will be talking about more interesting problem based on these guidelines. So, I hope you enjoyed this lecture and understood as well. Thank you very much.